Welcome back to Amplify, where conversations echo beyond the mic. I'm Dominic,
And I'm Sunny.
and today we're diving into another powerful story of purpose, impact, and the journey behind the mission. Our guest today is someone who's not just talking about change, they're living it. Whether it's through their work in actually college and career coaching, or their youth community athletics program, or their unique path to community leadership, they've got a story worth listening to. So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's welcome Kimberly Shackelford to the mic. Kimberly, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Sunshine and Dominic. This is exciting.
Man, this is awesome. I mean, you and I, we go way back to a few years ago where we kind of started on this vision quest of
hmm
how we could work together, helping these students to prepare for college. And, for me, it was kind of a backing into the deeper responsibilities that go beyond just giving kids scholarship money to college. You and next thing you know, you're into this miles deep experience of all that's involved to get a kid ready for college, and it's a lot deeper than I ever
A lot.
imagined. And the universe just brought me to you, and here we are. But I want the world to know a little bit more about you and your mission and how you got to where you are today.
Ooh,
So I think that may be a good place to start. Just
okay.
dive in and share with the world how you got to where you are now.
Okay. So back in 1974, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going back to when I was born. So with the youth sports, I'm an avid fan of all sports. You name it, I love it. I look at curling during Olympics. Okay. So I love all
Okay.
types
I
of
love
sports.
curling too.
Yes, it's so exciting. So my favorite sport of all time is football. I'm a diehard football fan. Any football game I'm looking at. And so I've always been involved in sports. My family's always been involved in sports. I did not play any sports in high school because everyone expected me to run track because my brothers were football and track stars. And I was like,
hmm
no, I'm not going to just because you want me to. So I didn't.
hmm
But I've always loved sports. Fast forward, I had children, I had them in sports, really my son the most. And then my daughter, she was cheerleader, danced, all of that, ice skating. Um, when I met my husband, he's all sports. And one day he looked at me and he said, we're going to start a youth sports organization and I want you to run the cheerleading team. And I'm like, what? You know, the last time I cheered was when my brothers were in Pop Warner. And I was like, I don't know, under 10 years old. So I was like, okay, we're going to do this. Our son was a baby. I literally had him at practices in the stroller. He's looking at football practice, looking at me doing cheer. That's where it started. My husband and I both have just a profound love for youth and seeing them have fun, excel, succeed, all of that. And so here we are almost 15 years later, and we're still here. We are a private youth sports organization, and those don't hang around a lot in our area.
hmm
Usually it's the Boys and Girls Clubs, it's you're affiliated with some other organization, and we're a nonprofit and we've just sustained with where we are in this community. We have a big impact. We started out with just football and cheer. Now it's football, cheer, competition cheer, sideline cheer, basketball, golf, skiing and winter sports, skateboarding. What else we do? Soccer. Oh gosh, soccer is huge.
Yeah.
We're getting into baseball, softball, and volleyball soon, and kickball. We do after school programs. We do daycares where we go in, anything to get the youth active and moving. But what's most important is one of our mottos used to be we want to be what we want students to become. And so mentoring is huge in what we do. It's every practice, our coaches are reminded the impact that they have on a student athlete. They're reminded the impact that they have on families. We have grandparents raising children. We have aunts and uncles raising children. We have foster parents. And of course, we have moms and dads. And it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to parent a child.
Yes.
And that's what we want to be. And that's what we continue to just strive to be in this community. It's always rewarding, always, no matter what.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
is awesome. That
Yeah.
is awesome.
We
That is
love it.
awesome.
It's great. Yeah.
Take us back, if you could, to help me understand, right? So were you always doing this, or did you have like a corporate job
Yeah.
too? And
Yeah.
how was that transition? Because I think that's really, really definitely where I want to dive into with you is because there's so many people listening to what we're talking about today who are at this point where they have these passions like you've shared, right? But they're working a full-time job, they've got kids, they've got family responsibilities. How does one, even begin to think about, especially in today's environment, making a move like that? What's the journey been like? Tell us about that.
Ooh, the journey. Ah, let me tell you, starting a business, running a business, scaling a business, operating a business, all of that is not for the faint of heart. It's just not. You have to have something beyond trying to earn money, trying to become rich. We're not getting rich off of what we have been doing with our nonprofit. Not at all. We've put way more of our money into this organization. Scaling is the key, and that's where we are now. But going back, I actually just left my good government job not even 2 months ago. So I've been doing this, and we've been doing this while holding down regular 9 to 5s all of this time. And it has meant a lot of sacrifices for our family, for our children, but we've included them. All of our children came through this program playing sports. So if we were at a practice, they were at a practice. If they were at a practice, we were at a practice. Um, when they aged out of our program, they still got almost all of their graduating voluntary community service hours through our organization, whether it was student coaching, concessions, helping to clean helmets. I mean, they did everything, you name it. Helping to really, I guess, craft the advertising and marketing to appeal to their age. They've done it all. So there's a lot of sacrifices. But again, I mentioned scaling this business. It got to a point with my good government job and us returning every single solitary day and me having a over 3 hour commute every day, where I was exhausted to the point in the evenings that I could not help run this business. I was exhausted. I fell asleep in front of my laptop many a
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
just submitting requests for permits and things like that. But I realized that something had to go. I'm the sandwich generation, so I'm caring for aging parents, and I'm also raising, our last son, our fifth child, who's a teenager, and the businesses, both the college and career coaching, and the youth sports organization started to just blow up, scaling to degrees that demanded way more of my attention. And I made that choice with the help of programs in the federal government to leave that 9 to 5. I was a contracts attorney for the federal government, senior counsel, 18 years in. People were like,
Congratulations.
thank you. People were like, wait, do you realize what you're doing? You're leaving. You can retire, in just 2 years, you'll have 20 years. I wouldn't have the age, but there's some things you can do at 20 years, in the federal government.
Yeah.
And I said, it's time to leave now. And there were so many factors. Going into that office every day was depressing. It was depressing. And it's hard for me to, I guess, mask how I really feel. But then again, it's very easy. Okay.
Mm.
Even though I was feeling this depression going in every day, I mean, pulling into the garage, just a cloud. Walking in there and hearing people talking about the state of their jobs. Are they going to have a job? Are they going to be able to support their families? You know, could someone walk in and just say, guess what? Sorry, you got to leave. And they don't have something else. I found myself trying to encourage people to, there's something you can do beyond this. Don't you have a skill, a talent? Like, you're here, you're an attorney, you're an analyst, you know things. You can go to corporate, you can go to private. Why don't you start your own business? What is your passion? What do you love to do? That's what I found myself doing almost every day, was encouraging people to see beyond themselves and see beyond this job, this 9 to 5, as their source. You know, I'm a woman of faith. I believe the Creator put us here for a specific purpose. And if you feel as if this is unstable for you, or this is not going to work out, you have a source. You are not the source. You're a resource. So look at yourself as that, as a resource for something else or something bigger or better. And I just so happen to have businesses that I could, quote unquote, fall back on. Interestingly enough, I never saw myself retiring from anything. When I was a teenager, I never envisioned myself saving up for retirement, retiring, and then going to live in Florida or somewhere and just live off of what I've worked so hard for 30 or more years to say. I never saw myself doing it. I always saw myself doing something, interestingly enough, again, that had nothing to do with being an attorney.
And
So
that's something.
yeah, so I don't know if that in my head, what I've always had in my head, just made me see something different going in there every day. But it also meant that when it was time to leave, I had an immense amount of peace. There was so much peace in my decision. And my husband was like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want? I keep doing this because I see my hair. I'm real, y'all. I'll just bust in the middle of the conversation. I'm like, "What's over here?" Okay. And he's like, do you really want to do this? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because again, 18 years of consistent, steady income that kept getting higher. And it was like, this is guaranteed. You know, a federal government job is guaranteed. And I didn't grow up in the DC area. I grew up in Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl, you know, the Philadelphia area. My father was career federal government, but I never considered federal government service as what I'd be doing. I just didn't.
And that's
But
something.
but once I got into it, I was like, oh, and then I had children, and I was like, oh, if I want to be an attorney and see my children, it's not going to be a law firm. That's 80 hours a week just on the regular. I won't be able to see my family. And federal government was it. And I was like, this is stable. I can leave, go home, and not bring my work with me. You know, I'm doing something valuable. My portfolio in the federal government was over $1 billion. I was managing a
Wow.
$1 billion portfolio on the legal and business side. And so this is like major. I've had major companies that my clients contracted with, from small business to major corporations. And this is like great experience. Like, you can move on and do big things. People are like, you can go to a law firm and you can be of counsel, you can be a partner. And then I'm like, no, not me. I have other things going on in my life. And the other things were my businesses. And I know that I have to give my all to these student athletes, you know, whether it's at a practice or my weekends. You know, to wake up on a Saturday morning and not have a game to go to or set up for is very rare, but it's weird. It's very weird.
God.
So jumping is not easy, but I just tell people, you know, look at everything. If it's right for you and your family, and you got to have immense faith in yourself. For me, it was in myself. It was immense faith in my husband and immense faith in the work that we do and in my creator. And it also this, it's never going to be the perfect time. But for me, it was
Say
the
that
right.
again.
Yeah, it's never going to be the perfect time. Everybody's always
Amen.
looking for, I got to have this amount of money. I have to live here. My children have to be at this point in their life. I know a lady that started her business, and she would go and she would be a vendor at these different locations. She would literally have her little toddler children under her table on their iPads, or they got to an age where they were preschool and elementary school, and they would just be sitting on the floor with her at all these events, and they would hand her the t-shirt or they would hand her the book. Because if she waited until they got into high school, it still wouldn't be the right time.
Right.
The
Nope.
perfect
Nope.
time. I say the perfect time. So yeah.
So if I could jump in here,
Hmm.
you've been giving us a really good overview and breakdown of a bunch of different areas, and I'd like to take us back to where you talk about where you start there, doing it at the right time, making a move and a change at the right time, and people who maybe don't have the extra things going on outside of work that they're passionate about, and so work is what they live for. So my question is, given your being a woman of faith and having other things to do, how would you encourage someone to take that step, find something else to do, to engage in their hobbies or turn their hobbies into something that they can be so passionate about that they could step out and not worry about needing that stable income?
Hmm. So that's very interesting. I'll give two sides of the same coin. I tell my students the very first time I meet with a family, I like to meet with families all together at once. Usually it's through, virtual Zoom. And I ask the parents a few questions, and I look at the student and I say, what would you do every day of your life, of your adult life, if money were not a thing? If you had all the money you needed or wanted in the bank,
Mhm.
if you didn't have to worry about anything like that, but you could wake up every single solitary morning and be excited about what you are about to do, what would that be? And so I tell adults, what would that be? And again, me, attorney, if someone asked me that question, I would have many answers, but I would say pouring into the lives of young people so they could realize their potential and go for it. There is nothing stopping a young person from doing everything they want to do in life. So what would that be? The other side of that same coin is, what are you good at? I heard a gentleman, Myron Golden. I follow him. I think he's amazing. Myron Golden said, what are you good at? What can you do? What can you teach others to do? And so what would that be? And with some of the people that I worked with, their expertise may be litigation. Okay, litigating on behalf of the government, but you know how to legally write something that will convince a judge to rule in your favor. Take that skill and go teach other people to do that. That's simple. And if you start to look at things like that, you'll start to realize this is something not only that I could love to do, but I could charge people for and earn money doing it, and maybe even support myself and my family.
Yeah.
It may start very small, but the first step is a step. If you don't start, you don't finish. So yeah,
Yeah.
that would be my advice. Just find that. Even if it's a hobby, you love crocheting, start crocheting a bunch of stuff. Look at a local something coming to your town or some opportunity, a farmer's market. And just go out on that Saturday morning and see if people will buy your crocheted hat, your crocheted scarf, your whatever it is, and see how that works for you. That will put you out there in an area where will begin to network, meeting other people that do things that they love or do crocheting. Maybe you'll find that, you know what? Someone has a crocheting business. They don't crochet scarves and hats, but they need someone who does. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know till you get out
Yeah.
there.
They say that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So you have
Single
to
step.
start somewhere.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
And to piggyback on that, I think it's that thing that we were meant to do. A lot. I hear a lot of folk, in me included, who have thought that it was something that was way outside of your current scope. What I've learned and if you can talk to this to see if it's similar for you, whatever it is that you're meant to do, it's the thing that's most natural to you already, right? It's not like you have to go looking real far to find it. I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree when it comes to how you look at kids and the parents. Same applies when it comes to your gift, skills, and abilities. It's already there. You've already
Right.
been pre-prepared for
That's right.
whatever it is that you're intended to do.
That's right.
Are you
That's
seeing the
exactly
same
right.
thing?
I'm seeing the exact same thing. With coaching and helping and mentoring students in the college and career space. Okay, let's go there. I have been doing this since I was in college. I would see young high school students when I would come back home from college, and I had something to share. My thing is, college is not just an education, it's an experience. And I had the opportunity to be around people from all over the world, from women and men all over the world. And I got it just the culture of it all helped to elevate me to a place where I wanted to share what I was experiencing. And so I would talk to high school students just in the grocery store. You're still in high school? Okay, you're still in high school. What are you going to do after high school? That would be my question. And so I was in college doing this, not ever thinking I would ever turn it into a business. I just wanted to see young people succeed,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
And then my mother did it. My mother would always, through her alumni association, Livingstone College in Jersey and in the DC area, she would always be talking to students about what they're going to do. They're going to go to college. This is what you need to do. So I saw this. I like to say it was in my DNA, but it was ingrained in me. But I just love to do it to the point where I have done it for before 2 years ago. I did it for 25 years for free, just
Wow.
giving out advice through my church, through my community, through now my youth sports organization. I would talk to parents, and they'd have a 6-year-old in my organization. They say, yeah, I got a lot going on, Coach Kim, because my daughter is prom. It's prom. She's in high school. Well,
Mhm.
great. Junior prom. She should be preparing now. And then the conversation will go on
Yeah.
about what she needs to do about life after. She doesn't want to go to college. What is she going to do? She's not going to stay in your home just chilling. Okay, no, they're not staying in my house. And okay, then here's her options. What is she good at? What does she love to do? And I would just be doing this. And then year before last, my mother says, why don't you start charging people for this? And I'm like, never. I just love to do this. Why don't you start charging people to do this? And ironically, we were building a scholarship app for the last few years. Never did I even think, oh, this can be a part of Dormany. This could be a part of what Dormany does, is helping students, not just getting them scholarships, but giving them the tools they need for life after high school. And she said that, and I was like, okay, I guess I can charge people. The first few people, I still couldn't bring myself to say. They're like, well, how much do
Yeah.
you charge? Well, let me just help them. And they're like, finally, one lady was like, no, you're giving us way too much information, way too much help. How much do you charge? And then I got a little more comfortable with it, a little more
Right.
comfortable. But again, like you said, it was something I naturally loved to do for 20 something years. And I up and realized, yeah, I could make this a business. It could really be something. And since then, I've been able to reach even more people, because as a business, I realized there's ways you have to do things. So maybe not just in person, because everything was in person. And then I realized, wait, I could actually reach people. I got a call from someone, an email from a lady, California. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's meet at, 10 a.m. She was like, oh no, 10 a.m. That's 7 a.m. And I'm like, it's what? Wait, where are you located? She said, California. I was like, oh, I can reach students in California. Oh my gosh. I was so excited.
Different
I was
time
so
zones and
excited.
everything.
Different time zones and the pandemic was horrible as, what it was. But it really birthed a moment for people to reach each other virtually in ways to help. And that's the tool I've used, is to help. But you're right. things you love to do can actually become your everyday life.
Well, let's unpack that a little bit more, right? So you had people that you were giving this amazing advice. They saw the value in the information you were providing them, and they're throwing money at you. And you're like, no, 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 I just want to help. What did you have to unlearn in order to get to the place where
Ooh.
you're like, you know what? You're right. Let me put pad to paper, pen to pad, and come up with the figure and get back to you. Tell us about that
Yeah.
transition.
I think the biggest thing I had to learn, weirdly enough, imposter syndrome.
Mm.
Okay, that is major.
Oh, it is.
I had been talking to students and parents. I'm talking about a room full of students and parents at times, high school students, professionals. And when it came to me actually calling this a business, I was like, can I do this? Can I really can I really help people? Can I see results? And I think the big thing was, now that it's a business, I have to measure the results, because now I have to adjust to see. Before it was, okay, go forth and be great. And I've had, when I was doing this for free, I've had students that have gone undergrad, master's degree, PhD, okay, didn't pay one penny for any degree. In fact, in the master's and the PhD level, they got paid, okay, in
Mm.
fellowships and programs like that. So why was I thinking that I couldn't get results? Why was I doubting myself? That imposter syndrome is real.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing for me, a huge obstacle for me to get over. I also had to unlearn my value. I had to unlearn what it is to actually put a value on my services, on my advice, on myself.
Hmm.
And because again, I was just freely advising people and helping because I was helping. I also had to unlearn, okay, so I was helping before. Now I'm charging. I had to unlearn um, the concept of what it means to actually charge someone for my help. Okay. Because again, I was just freely advice. Tell me everything. All right, here you go. This is what I'm suggesting you do. Come back to me and let me know if it works. Okay, that didn't work. Try this.
Yeah.
Well,
So there's
I
a
had to
difference between helping and solving problems,
right. And
right?
so, yeah. And so I realized, Kim, you're still doing the same thing. You're just charging. So I had to unlearn the the aspect of, you don't have to do it this way, but you can do it this way. And just that whole concept. Um I also had to unlearn what it means to network. Okay. So, networking, putting myself out there. I wasn't a big social media person. I would go to Facebook. Yep, I'm on Facebook. I would go to Facebook. I finally joined Facebook for a high school reunion. I was like, I'm not getting on that thing. And this was years ago. So I joined Facebook. And again, it was years ago. Um, and then I got on Instagram, but it was mainly just to keep up with people, to, see funny things. I love going to social media to laugh. People do funny things. I love stupid little pet videos where dogs
Yeah.
do stuff. So that's what I was there for. I had to unlearn the concept of putting myself out there. And I remember the first time that my husband was like, yeah, I want you to do this post. Post? Post what? Me on a post? Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I would never post my children, nothing. I'm not getting up there. No, not doing that. Not doing that. Can we get somebody else to do it? No, you're the expert. Me, expert? Imposter syndrome. Okay, it took so much for me. And you can't imagine the amount of takes just to say, I'm the college mom boss and I can help your student graduate with a debt-free degree. That right there, yeah. Because I was like, are people going to believe me? Or what are they going to say? And I have to put myself out there. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of things to unlearn. And even now, there are even things to unlearn. I had to unlearn mindset is huge.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't
Yeah.
change your mindset about who you are and about other people, then you're just gonna, it's a hamster wheel. It's just going around and around and around and around. I had to believe that I could do it. And I heard something that Mark Cuban said um, on a YouTube video that one of the other Shark Tankers, I follow his channel, but he said, Mark Cuban, he asked him a question. He said, when you walk into a room, do you ever believe that the answer will be no? He barely got the question out of his mouth. And Mark Cuban said, no, I walk into every room knowing I'm walking out with a yes.
Wow.
I'm gonna
That's
tell
a
you,
huge mindset
It
change.
is. It is.
I think the mindset piece is where the biggest battle is for people who are making this trek. You mentioned something, and it didn't dawn on me until, I was talking with someone who was an advisor to us for um, packaging our mentorship program, right? And she's like, what would you charge for that? And it literally, we come from Sunny and I, we come from a corporate background,
Yeah.
right? Where um, we're used to having a product, good, or service, and it has a price tag to it. And our job is to sell that in 1, 2, or 3 year increments. And in exchange for that, that's part of our commission, part of our quota, retired.
Right.
Now you're asking me to put a price on me.
Yeah.
That's
that's
hard.
a
That's hard.
that was not easy. And to put a price on me and what my worth is was like not as easy as you would think.
No.
Not as easy at all. Okay, so the scripture, a woman is far above precious jewels, far above rubies. I, I've always thought of myself like that. My parents raised me to think highly. I went to Spelman College where, it's woman, what? I am woman, hear me roar. But then someone asks, well, how much do you charge? Uh, hmm. You're right.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It
That
is
is so
tough.
tough.
It is
Even
tough.
working a corporate job, I I knew, and I've negotiated my salaries in private industry. Okay. I was marketing coordinator for an architectural firm. Okay. This is before law school. I worked at the Washington Post and I had an opportunity to move up. And so that negotiation is like, okay, I understand this industry and I understand, my resume and what's comparable. With the marketing firm, I was going to leave. I was going to go to another marketing firm. I'm sorry, I did marketing for an architectural firm, but I was going to go to a marketing firm. And the principal of the architectural firm didn't want me to leave. And I said, you're not paying me enough. I'm sorry. Let's just be truly honest. So I knew my value there, but I
Yeah.
knew it already in the confines of an industry that said this, and this is your experience, and this is your degree. And he said, whatever it is, I'll match it. You just stay for one more year. I was like, oh, should I have asked for more? But in that context, I knew what I'm working with. But when you own your own business and when of course, there's industry standards, but then again, your expertise and your worth. But then again, you want the contract or you want the business or the client. But then again, you don't want to price people out where you turn people. It's so much to consider when you're on your own like that. And so you're right. It's, and then you look at it and you don't want to say, oh, I'm worth that little bit when I know what I'm worth. It's a whole mind game that you play with yourself,
Yeah.
and it's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough. Yeah, it's tough.
Absolutely.
I see, my brother, he's a clothing designer slash artist. And one of the things when he was just getting into releasing his own art, right? He started
Mm-hmm.
with pencil sketch art, and and kind of went from there. And I was like, for me giving him this advice was easier than me taking the advice myself. I was like, dude, don't the value of art, any art, is in the eye of the buyer.
Right.
You, why would you? Someone out there sees that this is valuable enough that they'll buy it.
Right.
And for you to shortchange yourself into thinking that your art is not worth X amount is doing yourself an injustice. The value of art is in the eye of the buyer. And you just have to be willing to put it out there that way,
Right.
and
Right.
don't shortchange yourself. Um,
That's interesting you say that, because that has helped me to actually figure out what I will charge. I have a whole plethora. I have a whole gamut, package that a parent can, get my services for. Everything's included. But then there's, what does your student need? Okay, you don't need the whole package. You can do this and this and this and this. And someone said just the other day, this happens to be with real estate, and it made me it just enlightened me so much when they said it. They said when they're dealing with sellers and buyers, they tell sellers, your home is worth whatever someone will buy it for. Okay? Because the appraisal may come out at $500,000. But if someone is going to pay $600,000, that's what your home is valued, because that's what they see value for. Okay?
mhm,
And that
mhm,
made me think, oh, huh. So if a parent is just clueless about what this whole college and career and scholarship and applications process is, the value for them is, and I just so crazy that things you have to really, really pay attention. The small things are actually the big things in life. And a potential client said to me, I don't care what information you need from me. I need help with my child to get them money for school. I don't care what it's going to take. And that doesn't say to me, oh, wow, I can just charge you forever. The first thing it said to me was, I have got to work hard to get this student money. I don't care what it takes. Every opportunity I see. That was the first thing in my mind. The
mhm.
second thing in my mind was, Kim, don't cheap yourself out, because they see value in what you can do. They tried 3 other sources, and now they came back to you because they realize what you have to offer for them and their son is valuable. And so, just like you said, the value is in the eye of the beholder. That's very true. If you go out here, people, and someone offers you a contract and you're thinking, wait, you don't have to pay me $10,000 to put this fence up. That maybe they do have to pay you $10,000, because for them, they may want to sell their home, and that $10,000 investment with you is going to give them an extra $30,000 when they sell it. You just never know. Don't cheap yourself out. Okay? But also look at realistically what you can do, because the number one goal is to help and to serve. And you don't want to turn away someone. That's what we had with our youth sports organization. We had such a struggle in charging parents from different economic status. If they were low income, we just had such a problem turning away students who just want to play a sport and have fun and make friends. That if you couldn't pay that registration fee, that, I'm sorry, your student can't participate. And that, I can't even say the first few years, the first 10 to 12 years of us running this business, we would do everything we could to help families pay for our fees. And we were
Mhm,
the lowest. We're still the lowest in our
mhm,
industry, in our area, but we couldn't turn them away. So that's why we came out of our pocket so much, as a nonprofit
mhm.
and as a community-based business. We still come out of our pockets a whole lot, but we just couldn't turn a family away. Now we've structured things and we listen to people. We have a different way of paying for the registrations. You can do it over a monthly basis. We used to have the weekly, that wasn't working out. We tried that for about 2 years. but we make it, we try to make it as affordable for parents because we still have expenses. And then we're scaling now, so we have to consider that. But so much of our services in this youth sports organization is at cost because we know the impact it will make on families. We know what it'll mean, excuse me, if your family is a part of this organization. And so it's a fine line to figure out, what's going to break us even, what's going to earn us profit so that we can do bigger and better things. And that's what we realized. It's okay to earn a few extra dollars in your business because now you can go make a bigger impact and do bigger things. And it
Yes.
took us a while to get to that. But with it, and it's not just, with the youth sports, it's whatever your business may be. When you can scale and widen the impact that you're making on communities, it's okay. It's okay. Know your worth, know your value, and then go do bigger and better things.
That's an amazing thing right there. Why is it important for um, social entrepreneurs like yourself and us to run in packs, to collaborate together? What's the power of that you've seen?
It's tremendous. You cannot do it all. You just can't. We've been running this organization for almost 15 years, and there is something that we cannot do. Okay. We
Hmm.
just had a webinar for our parents because we realize we're mentoring students, we're helping them stay healthy, we're giving them something to do, they get to achieve, and all of that. They make friends, they make lifelong friends. Okay. My daughter's best friend to this day, she met on her cheerleading team in my organization. Okay. She's 24. So this was over 10, 12 years ago. But we can't do it all. And so we said, how can we serve parents? Well, we did a real estate webinar, how to purchase a home or sell your home, how to purchase a home with no, low, bad, good credit, how to sell your home, at optimum prices in this, market as it is now. That's not something I could do. I cannot tell you all of the ins and outs of real estate and how to help. And when I tell you parents were so engaged, parents were asking questions, answering questions. That is not something I could do, but my real estate agent could. And then she grabbed someone else, and then she grabbed a mortgage lender, and they got together and did this webinar. We want to help parents with students who have IEPs or to advocate. IEP is an individual educational program, I think is what it
Hmm.
is.
Hmm.
But if students have learning differences, which are not deficits, they're just differences, how to advocate for your child. I don't know that. But if I partner with someone who can do that, they can come in, they can consult with our parents and help them. Networking is everything. Dominic, that's how you found me. That's how we found each other. Okay. Yes, you went to Morehouse. I went to Spelman. We weren't there at the same time. And even if we were, we might not have never known each other. But there's a tiny little group on Facebook for Spelman and Morehouse. And I think I put one of my posts when I got up the nerve to do a post in the Facebook group. And I think that's how you found me. You sent me a message. You have students that have a need. I have an expertise that could help those students. Boom. That's where it happens. And that's why, when you asked me before about people who don't know what to do, Sunshine, you asked, if they have a hobby or they don't, how do they networking? Take your crocheted hats and scarves to the farmer's market and meet some people. Go to a convention or don't even take your stuff. Just go to some type of conference that's in town and start talking to people. Networking is everything because you may not know how to, crochet the big blanket or make a quilt, but someone else does and they can show you. Something your business has or something your business needs, someone else has. Okay. A saying that is very popular in my church is your share is important, necessary, and sufficient. And if that is what your share is to someone else, whatever you lack, someone else has a share that meet that need. So it's very important. You have to get outside of your four walls, outside of your current, sphere of influence, and meet people. Talk about what you do. Ask them what they do and watch what happens.
Yeah, and we've been beneficiaries of that very
Mhm.
experience with, meeting people at the right time to help us through things, areas where we were stuck, or places where we just didn't know we didn't know.
Yeah,
And it's been incredibly beneficial to us and our growth over the last year or so. I mean, I feel like we have definitely elevated what we do, what we can do, and visualize, how we can move forward and do things,
right.
just because of that very thing, the networking and meeting the right people at the right time, because we don't have and know everything.
That's
And
right.
the things that we do have and know, we know from a different perspective that doesn't necessarily play here the way it did, where we come from, right, in corporate
Right.
America. So
Right.
it's been really good. Again, it goes back to your original statement. It takes a village, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to get out there and meet people and figure out not just what you can get from them, but what you can offer them, right? Because
Exactly.
it's got to
Exactly.
be an exchange for it to be beneficial in the in the world, in the universe, and
Right.
for everybody to be benefited in the process, right?
That's right.
Because we're not all out there just to help. Um,
Right.
the help is a bonus, but we definitely want to be out able to make an impact both ways, right? And so it's been really really beneficial for us to have
Yeah.
made some of the connections we've made over the last year or so to help us propel forward in what we're doing for the high school students that we mentor and support.
It's everything. Community is everything. It's everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find that there's safety in numbers, right? It's one of the battles that I struggle with in the mind is feeling isolated, like you're out there on your own, and you get that encouragement that you need to keep going, and that sometimes can make the difference between winning and losing altogether, right?
That's
Because
right.
you you languish. It's called languishing, right? You're out there and you languish out there in sort of like a desert experience by yourself, thinking that it's just you. But when you come into a fold of like-minded folk, you draw that strength and that energy that you need to keep moving. Just one more day. Just
That's
let
it.
me take one more step.
That's it.
Let me just type out one more grant application. And you know what I'm saying?
Woo!
Even though I feel like falling flat on my face because I'm just
Right.
disgusted,
Right. Right.
but then you come back around folk that just lift you up. That
Yes.
I mean, how important is that just to for survival's sake when you're
Yeah.
out here as a social entrepreneur doing your own thing?
It is so important. And it's not only important with the people you've networked with and, you're lending to their business and they're lending to your business and sharing, even just sharing ideas, the work that you do. That's what I remind myself sometimes when I get weary. I literally have a tab open now for a grant application, and I was waiting on the financial information from our financial folks, and I got it. And the grant, the tab, I keep, yeah, no, I didn't get the grant. I
Oh,
got the
okay.
financial, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, if I got the grant, that, oh my gosh. No, I got the financial information I needed. But the tab is still open. I have so many tabs open, so
Me
I
too.
don't
I
forget
mean,
to
I'm
do
looking at
stuff.
one right
Yeah,
now.
it's crazy how many tabs that I have open at one time. But I have that tab open, and this is so crazy. I was so tired the other night. And I said, because we just started our soccer program at a new location, and we weren't sure like how many people are going to come out. The weather, it always seems to rain or thunderstorm at 6 o'clock. All of our practices start at 6 o'clock. I mean, we have never studied, me, the coaches, my husband, we've never studied a weather app so much like we do during like the spring and the summer. And
Mhm.
we're like, oh gosh, are people going to come out? It's a new location. And we pulled up and started setting up, and there were just children just coming to the soccer field. And we were like, yes, this is so great. it motivated me so much that I was like, I got to go finish this application. We got to get this money for these students. So it wasn't even like someone who we partnered with or anything. It was those students. When you look at the impact you're making, and again, we never met these families. This was a first time. We talked to them on the phone, told them how to register, things like that. But to see the children out there, and we had freebies. We were sponsored by Gatorade, so we have all these Gatorade things for them. And we were like, here's your bottle, here's your. They were like, this is mine, and we had towels. They were like, I can keep this. Can I keep this? Little stuff like that, and then teaching them how to kick the ball correctly. And we had coaches out there, and a little 3-year-old. She already had her little name on her little soccer jersey. She had a little soccer jersey, and I was like, you are so. That just inspired me. I was like, we got to get more money. We got to get more children out so they can have smiles on their faces when they simply kick a ball into a net. Like
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
the glee on their face was just like, this is the first practice. And one of the young men said, wait, we're going to get to play in games? I'm like, son, you're going to get to play in games. You get a jersey, you get a whole uniform, and you're going to have a headband, you get a little bag. And they were like, oh my God. Like they've seen this on TV all this time. Now they get to play soccer, And that inspired me so much that I was like, I got to find more grants to fill out, So
Yes.
now
Yes.
I'm looking through my emails like, where did I see those grants? Where did I see? Oh, and then the thing is, again, with the people that you partner with or you share with or that can pour into your business or you can pour into theirs, if I see a grant for another business, I'm like, we don't qualify for this. But I know someone because I was networking, because I meet people, because I'm going outside of my box, I'll shoot them an email. Did you know about this grant? Did you know about this? Let me know if you find something that we would qualify for, but I just wanted to let you know about this one. So yeah, that's what keeps you going, is the impact that you're making, whether it's on another business or whether it's with the community that you serve. For me, it's just so inspiring. That's what keeps me going. So many weary, dreadful, times when I'm just tired. Nope. I think about those little faces on the soccer pitch.
I love it.
Yeah.
You are not alone.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Woo!
It keeps us going because it's not easy when you're serving communities. It's like I equate it to like teachers. I just did a post for scholarships for educators, and I ended with, you're not paid enough, teachers. Let's raise teacher pay. Pay parity, pay equity. It's kind of like the education profession. We know they're not paid enough. When you're working in the community for people in the community to help them with whatever they need, it can be a lot because people may not look at services like that as important or something that needs a whole bunch of money, thrown at it. That's why we're sitting here filling out grant applications and trying to network and get people to donate and things like that, because people aren't just like, oh yeah, you have the latest technological device that will help us to do. Yeah, we're going to pour millions into that. Yeah, we do bigger and better things, people, for people.
For people.
Throw
For
money at
people.
us. Yeah. So yeah, it's encouraging to remember what you're doing it for.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, did we have any other directions we wanted to go here? Anything else you'd like to share or advice to provide people who are looking to live their mission, live their purpose?
I just say, look, we were all put here. My son, again, coaching your own children through the college and career process is, yeah, that's why I can feel parents. That's like the first thing I said. I don't know what to do with my child. I've had college English professors come to me and say, my student needs help with essays. I'm like, you're a college, they won't listen to me. But my son did an essay for college, and my advice is to start with a quote or something like that. He used a quote that said, I forgot who said it now. Oh, I forgot who said it, but the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you realize why. And that's your purpose.
Mm.
If you tap into that, when you tap into that, there's really no true time or day that you feel like just completely quitting. That you'll get to those days sometimes where it's like, this is just too much. It's too hard. It's too difficult. And something that my pastor said eons ago, and I never forget it. I don't completely, subscribe to this, that just life is hard. It's just hard. It's just hard. But it's not also just a bowl of cherries. But it's going to get hard. Choose your hardness. It is hard to continue to serve a community that needs your help. It's also hard to give up and one day look up on the news and see one of those students that you could have helped has just been arrested for murder or drugs or something. It's hard to pour into these students all the time. It's hard to check an attitude on the field because I coach football and I coach cheer. So it's hard to check an attitude and not want to be like, I'm a put my hands around your neck and squeeze till your tongue pops out. It's hard. Yeah, it's like, oh, you just said what? It's hard to just stay consistent and check that and show them love and show them love and show them love. That's all they really need is love. That's all they're really looking for is love and attention. It's hard to keep doing that, but it's also hard to turn them away and their parent come back and say, oh yeah, they're 20 now and they're not doing nothing. When something you could have said or done if you just didn't give up. So it is hard to do that. But when you know your purpose, when you realize your purpose, when you're in community with people that can encourage you, then it's going to make the journey that much smoother, that much easier. Your purpose is your purpose. And if you think of it like this, nobody else has the background I have. They haven't lived the life I've had. They haven't had the hardships I had. They haven't had the joys that I've had. Something about all of my makeup, all that I've been through, all that I've struggled with, all the days where I thought I can't give to anybody with what I've been through and what I've experienced. Nope, it's going to help someone. If I could just help that one person, it's so, so, so worth it. And just to understand that your place in this world is valuable, you have to keep telling yourself that. I do affirmations every day. I love my yoga, my meditations, but I say things to myself in the shower, while I'm exercising, while I'm putting on clothes, while I'm in the mirror. Saying those things to yourself, there is, and then this is another thing, setting small goals. Okay, we look at the big picture. Okay, I'm going to start a nonprofit in my community and I'm going to help students to impact their community. Turner Foundation, right? That's what I'm going to do. I want students to go out and give up themselves and their time so they can see what their community needs. They can make that impact. Okay, great. That sounds huge. But again, we were talking about that first step. Set the small goals. There is something that chemically happens in our brain that when you accomplish something, it's a chemical reaction. I have all the research. I can share the links with you. There's a chemical reaction that happens. That chemical reaction is like a boost. Now you're ready for the next thing. You accomplish that next small goal, it's a boost. And the more you do that, your brain is now becoming rewired for success and achievement. And then it's a natural thing. You don't wake up saying, oh, what I have to do. You wake up saying, I got these 3 things and I'm gonna get them done by the end of the day. And if I don't, it's okay. But that's what I'm striving for. So just every step. And one of the things I truly, truly learned raising children is that the little things are actually the big things. That little thing of seeing that little 3-year-old kick that soccer ball It took her forever to kick that soccer ball down the field into the net. Okay. But she
Mhm.
kept going. She kept kicking. She kept kicking. She kept kicking. And she got right to the net and it still didn't go in. I said, kick it one more time. She did. And you would have thought, a parade broke out for her. She was so happy. She went all the way back to the beginning of the field and did it again. And she did it about 5 or 6 more times because something within her said she could do it. So don't give up. Do not give up because your share is important, necessary, sufficient, and you are valuable.
I want to tell you something. And I just want to thank you,
Mhm.
Kimberly, because 3 of the students that have gone through the program this year that you've mentored through Door Money and done college and career coaching for them,
Mhm.
they have just completed their on-campus experience over at Savannah College of Art and Design.
And scared.
And Angie, Samora, and Zariah. And the feedback was like, oh my God, this is the
Yes.
best thing ever.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
that's
You did
that
that, Dominic. You made those
that
connections.
and that's the motivation
Yep.
that is that helps you keep going, right? To see these kids having an on-campus housing experience, that have worked with you through your college and career coaching, um, and thank you for giving me that feedback of who you saw would definitely benefit. It's an amazing thing, right? Now these kids will never forget that. They'll never
Never.
forget that
Never.
experience of living. This is all 3 of their first experiences
Yep.
living away from home.
Yes.
All 3 of them.
Yes.
And the feedback that they've given me, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for them,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
and so they're like, we can't wait to do this again. When can we do it
Okay.
again? I'm like, come
I
on.
love that.
Yeah,
Exposure is everything for young people.
everything.
It's everything.
Absolutely.
It's just exposure to just different opportunities. Those young ladies may have never experienced something like that if it wasn't for you all doing what you do. And by the way, let them know an essay is coming out of that experience. I have
Yes,
the questions ready.
absolutely.
I have the questions ready. They'll have an essay ready to go.
Yep, 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 yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hey, what an inspiring conversation, Kimberly. Thank you so much for coming,
Thank
sharing your
you.
perspective, your truth, your expertise, and pouring into us and into our listeners and viewers. We really, really appreciate the time today.
Absolutely. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. So now, if something in today's episode sparked a thought, moved your spirit, or challenged you to think differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay tuned to more stories that amplify what matters. Until next time, keep showing up, speaking out, and staying rooted in your purpose.